There's their life, and here, well, at least are two of the gentlemen, Joshua, Joey, Queens of the Stone Age. Nice to see you, man. How you doing? Good to see you, bro. I wonder, you know, because you guys actually pay a lot of attention to what you do, some bands just go in and try to bang off a record. Do you ever get to a point where you run out of things to say? Like several records into this.
Yeah, I mean, this is the fifth one, you know. I actually got stuck a little bit in the beginning of this record because, I mean, our thing is that it's got to be real or it isn't, you know. It needs to give you the feeling, like I mentioned actually one of your audience members yesterday, it needs to give you that feeling like you just left a first date, you know, and that juice in your guts, you know, that feels so, or it means nothing, you know. And so it took a sec this time to just figure out what do I want to say, you know.
Was that a new feeling in the studio to go in and wait? Yeah.
Yes, it's very new. It's actually one of the scariest feelings of all freaking time.
Because I wonder that, you know, the idea of not shatters your confidence, but anything that shakes your confidence, especially when you guys have been on quite a roll.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this time with this record here, Era, it was basically just starting from the ground up, totally. You know, so obviously, you know, lyrics, music, everything was just, we didn't have anything really, but maybe one song, Make It With You.
I mean, we sort of, as I look back now, we sort of stupidly felt like, hey, no problem. We'll just walk in there and, you know, and like, it'll be like, you know, this great positive friction, you know? But it took a sec to get any friction at all, you know? So, but once it started to go, and once you find that little spark, you sort of just head that direction, and it does snowball and really start to take off. So we got very lucky. We probably will never do a record like this again.
Right. Yeah. I wondered, for you guys, your reasons for starting this band, are they the same reasons or different reasons to stay in this band, to keep this going? Because you have lots of projects. I mean, you've been in, you know, a bunch of great bands. You've done a bunch of great work. Do you like to stay in the band? Is it the same reason for starting the band, or does that have to evolve?
Well, I think it's the same idea always, which is to play your favorite music that no one else plays, and so you feel like you have to, you know. And the band name doesn't really mean that much. I mean, in some ways, you know, I mean, it doesn't mean that much as the umbrella of that idea. In some ways, we, you know, it wouldn't matter if we just changed it to Joe Shit the Ragman, you know, it doesn't matter.
It's a catchy name.
In the works.
Thank you,
yeah, it's in the works.
It's a solo thing, but I don't know.
But you know, I think with all of us too, especially with this lineup now, it's like, I think everybody, even before, you know, before being in the Queens, all of us as individuals all kind of had the same ideas about music and how to, you know, what we wanted to do and how and bands we wanted to play in and stuff, you know. So
yeah, it feels like the lineup that keeps justifying us sticking around, you know, because there's been a number of times when I've been like, oh, I should change the name and do something else, and because I'm really conscious of that, you know, you should never flog a dead horse, you know, as they say, and you know, so much of the time bands get attached to time frames, like someone goes, boy, I was sure into Smash Mouth when I was in high school.
Wow. You think anybody actually says that?
No, but I need an example that none of us can relate to.
Right, okay. I had a big song.
Hey, no. And the thing is, you know, they get attached to that time frame, and that's what you think of, you know. I used to like them when, but the idea is to traverse the time frame and make quality music that really is of this time frame always, that we're in, always of the present, you know. I
was reading I think it was an interview early on in the Queen's run, in this band's run, and it was post Screaming Trees for you, and after Kurt Cobain died, there was this idea that no one could make, like, that was it, just give up.
Yeah, there really was. There was sort of like a, well, guys, that was awesome. Should we go bowling? You want to go bowling? You know?
And then people just sort of walked away, not walked away, but there was an intimidation for people to try to make music that was big again.
Yeah,
in that community.
That music that really, beyond the size of what it sold, it was almost like that meant as much as that meant to so many people. You know, like skip the surface like a stone was like the idea for a while, you know. But I mean, I never really bought into that because music is. Some people are like, why have music? Why have rock and roll? Well, I mean, music's says all those difficult emotions, those intangible emotions, better than words could ever say, you know?
I remember in the old days, I would interview 3 times on one tour, and you could watch your exhaustion level by the first interview a year into the tour, and then 2 years into the tour, where you'd be in the interview going, I just gotta fucking go home, right?
But look cool, huh? Because it'd be like drooling, kind of, with like a few cuts here, you know, like, I gotta go home.
But it's different now. You guys don't tour the same way, do you? Like, you take, is it different the way you put it on the road?
Well, what we do is we do short, controlled blasts, you know. We used to go out for 5.5 months at a time without ever going home, and now we go out for about 3 weeks at a time and then go home for 10 days or so. And what it does is we're always really psyched to be out, always.
Eric Clapton just put out a book, and he doesn't remember much of the 70s.
What a great book that must be. Chapter 4, I don't know, don't really know.
Yeah.
Chapter 5, still don't know, nothing.
Very short.
Yeah.
Very short.
Someone said heroin, and chapter 6 came around.
You can learn from the people who came before you musically. Can you learn from the people who came before you about how to do this business? Like how to tour, how to stay healthy?
Absolutely. I mean, I think one of the guys I've learned the most from is Billy Gibbons, who is, however old he is, I don't know for sure. I mean,
but that band still rocks, man.
Yeah, and I mean, he's got the Gandalf thing, you know.
ZZ Top beard. I mean,
yeah. But I tell you what, man, he isn't bitter or jaded. He is having such a great time. He laughs as much as anyone I've ever seen in my life. And I just love it, you know. I just love it because music is you know, I have so many friends that have jobs they don't like, you know. And like, this is what we get to do. But at the same time, music can turn some people into bitter old cranks. You just can't believe it, you know. Mm-hmm. You just go, God, you're right. I don't want to be around this guy either.
Yeah.
He's
Did
crazy.
you have that moment with a hero of yours or somebody you liked and you met them and went, what a dick?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I've been like, you're like a trio of dicks, you guys. You know? You know, and I'll spare the names because that's how you become a bitter old crank, is by going, you know, that old so and so is like, it's like, it doesn't matter, you know, it doesn't matter because that's not what I'm interested in at all, you know.
What do you think of what Radiohead are doing? Pay what you want for a record online.
I think it's great if you're Radiohead.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
Well, try that as a new band,
Yeah.
you know, and maybe that would work, and maybe I don't understand it yet. But it's an interesting situation that everyone's in because I love how the new definition for the word sharing, you know. No, it's just sharing.
We're sharing music. Yeah.
It's like, all right, well, I'll come by and share your car this week, you know, because I think if everyone, it's the largest sort of epidemic and nonchalant sharing of something I've ever seen. I mean, if it was oranges, if someone was like, you know what, we're going to take oranges, and everyone just started nerping oranges whenever they felt like it, you'd be like, what the fuck? I just saw a guy ran out of here with 20 bags of oranges.
But he's going to share them with all his friends.
Well, maybe. He might just juice them and bathe in it, you know what I mean? It's a really interesting time. I think there's room for some good creative ideas right now, and that just may be one of them, you know?
I imagine there's things you care about, and there's a lot of people who come to you and ask you to get involved, and there must be some sort of consideration of it, right?
We do, actually.
Yeah,
but we let them tell other people if we're involved or not. It's not... I've always felt, you know, it really is important to... My grandpappy always said, your horn sounds best tooted by others. And I just don't feel like...
Was he talking about helping people out or prostitution?
Well, ironically, both. He, you know, it's just one of those things where you need to do it for the right reason. That's because you are compelled to do something. What you don't need to do is share it with others like, You know, like it's an ugly, you know, things that you do are habitual, and that's a bad habit. Yeah.
Yeah.
In the band, though, do you all have the same sort, like just Joey, do you come to the guys ahead really like
We
us to
do
be
whatever
involved?
Joey says. That's
Joey runs it.
Just usually.
He is a very strong man.
Good drummers are hard to find. Take care of them, right? Nice to see you guys. Thanks for coming in, man.
Thank you so much.
Nice to see you, my friend. The guys in Queens of the Stone Age, Era Vulgaris is the brand new record. Check it out. It's one of my favorites. The Hour will be right back. It's especially when you guys have been on quite a roll.
Yeah, well, I mean, this time with this record here, Era, it was basically just starting from the ground up, totally. You know, so obviously, you know, lyrics, music, everything was just, we didn't have anything really, but maybe one song.
It needs to give you the feeling, like I mentioned actually one of your audience members yesterday, it needs to give you that feeling like you just left a first date, you know, and that juice in your guts that feels so, or it means nothing, you know, and so it took a sec this time to
Some bands just go in and try to bang off a record. Do you ever get to a point where you run out of things to say? Like several records into this.
Yeah, I mean, this is the fifth one, you know. I actually got stuck a little bit in the beginning of this record because, I mean, our thing is that it's got to be real or it isn't, you know. It just...
There's their life, and here, well, at least are two of the gentlemen, Joshua, Joey, Queens of the Stone Age. Nice to see you, man. How you doing? Nice to see you, Joe. Nice to see you, Joe. Doing well? I wonder, you know, because you guys actually pay a lot of attention to what you do.
Just figure out what do I want to say, you know.
Was that a new feeling in the studio to go in and wait? Yeah.
Yes, it's very new. It's actually one of the scariest feelings of all freaking time.
Because I wonder that, you know, the idea of not shatters your confidence, but anything that shakes your confidence.